Hello, everyone. It's Marla. Welcome back once again to Twinstrology. We're going to talk about some astrology today. We're going to talk about the Taurus Lunar Eclipse. This is part 2 of the video that I did before this called The Activation of the Threefold Flame. So if you haven't watched that video, you may want to watch that video in conjunction with this one because I'm going to talk about how some of the astrology relates to this. So as I'm recording this, we're about halfway between the Libra solar eclipse and this eclipse. And I feel like the next probably 3 weeks are going to be more intense than we've experienced. I feel like this eclipse, which is a lunar eclipse, is going to be the more intense of the two. The sun, Mercury, and Mars are going to be in Scorpio, and I feel like that is part of what is making it more intense. But I also feel that between this eclipse and the Scorpio new moon on November 13th is kind of the key time. Now, Scorpio relates to secrets. Now, Scorpio is ruled by Mars and Pluto jointly. Mars is in Scorpio, which is its own sign. And I just feel like this energy is very volatile. And indeed, the Scorpio new moon is going to be very volatile too, because it's almost exactly opposite Uranus. And so I feel like this is going to be full of shifts. Now, this eclipse window is bringing in a collective awakening. This is probably going to be happening over the next 3 months. It's not really focused on an exact date, but I know that many of you are feeling this. Many people are talking about it, and I'm getting the same things. That this is a major shift, and it's a major shift for twin flames. I've been getting very strongly the last few months that this time period is very much about twin flames reconnecting if they haven't already. For those that are reconnecting, I think that you can expect your connection to even level up from that. But we have to remember that the separation is not just about one relationship, but it's about our separation to the collective. And so what I'm getting is that there's something happening in the energy, perhaps in the material plane, that helps bring people out of the separation. And there's such a strong energy of division. And we see this in many different ways, right? There's a lot of division between men and women. There's a lot of division between different races, a lot of division between different nationalities, and we have people migrating all over the planet right now, which is bringing up these intense energies. We have the situation in Israel and Palestine, which happened at the last eclipse and is connected to what I predicted was going to happen, that there was going to be some anger and division. We've seen a lot of anger, a lot of separation come from that, and we can count that as like separation between religious philosophies. And so really we're just bombarded all the time. I feel we have political separation. It's just separation, separation, separation. And there's a lot of people in society these days that want to reinforce separation. And it's getting to be too much. And if we don't start finding some ways to come together, this energy is going to see a very negative explosion. And I hope it doesn't come to that, but we have to surrender to the plan, there's a bigger plan and we just have to surrender to what it is, whatever is going to happen. But I certainly feel like there's going to be some twist. Right now, this is the higher frequency energies coming in, but I feel like there has to be an event that happens in the material world that triggers this collective awakening. Yes, I mentioned it's probably going to be a lot of little events, but let's just say I feel like we haven't seen the last of something that's going to happen to help people wake up. Whether that's some kind of situation, some kind of volatile situation that surfaced, or whether it's some kind of information that is exposed. And with this eclipse, Scorpio is secrets. The sun is in Scorpio conjunct Mercury, illuminating possibly some secrets. We have Uranus and the moon and Jupiter in Taurus opposite, which has to do with financial institutions. So we could see some previously undisclosed information being brought out that may have its focus point in wealth of some kind. Now, that doesn't mean that I think it's necessarily going to be in the banking sector, for instance. But let's say something comes out in which someone's been hiding something and the underneath nature of it has been greed, for example. That's a strong possibility looking at this chart, I think. But yeah, what I'm getting is that we have to start coming together. And this threefold flame activation, I feel, is what is changing within us, within light workers, and within twin flames. It's reconnecting us to our Christed self so that we can move beyond separation another layer. And therefore, that's going to help us with the twin flame dynamic. And also, as I talked about in my last video, the ultimate separation is our separation from God. And with the threefold flame activation, we're having that reconnection with God. So that separation is also leaving. We also know that a part of this collective awakening is helping people see through the illusion, which makes sense if something's going to be disclosed. Because what I feel is coming is, and I think I mentioned that in the video I did, the reading about potential collective energies, is that it's like you think the world is one way, or you believe the world is one way, and then you get like this sudden realization somehow through something being disclosed or something challenged that makes you see that maybe the world isn't the way that I think it is. No, I do think we're seeing this on little micro levels, because the polarization is also helping us see things within ourselves. If we're very self-reflective, which we really need to be, and we look at the polarization, we try to hear things that other people are saying, try to hear the other side a little bit, then I think we can uncover things within ourselves that have been hiding, things within our subconscious, or where we have misinformation or we have beliefs that aren't serving us, or we're seeing that's not how things really are. We're needing to somehow like challenge our own beliefs, I guess is the way that I would say it. Spirit had me go back and watch a video that I posted at the last eclipse back in May. And it was called fifth dimensional timelines. Balance creates dimensional shifts and new realities. And what we're seeing now is something about that energy manifesting. In that reading, I pulled some cards such as the bridge card, the tornado card, the two paths card. And though I keep getting those cards over and over and over and over again. So clearly this is the next level of that information. So you may want to go back and listen to that reading because I think it gives a lot of insight into what is happening now. I want to remind you too that in between the Taurus Lunar Eclipse and the Scorpio new moon on November 13th, we have 11/11. And I feel that 11/11 is going to be particularly pivotal. So that could be a day that something happens, but it could be a day where, but that could be a day of awakening, if you will. I know my friends Rob and Angie over at Twinfinity, right? They mentioned how Rob woke up on 11/11, meaning he was kind of in resistance to the whole twin flame thing. And I believe he was telling Angie that he didn't want to be with her. And then 11/11 came and all that was out the window. And he was like, yeah, I think we're twins and I think we need to be together. So I don't know. Things can shift just that rapidly. But I do feel like that's going to be an important day, like right before the new moon. We also have Saturn going direct on November 4th. And Saturn is in Pisces. And Saturn is retrograded to the 0 degree of Pisces. And Saturn has been transiting with karma for quite a while now and is still with karma. They're opposing Lilith at this time. And I think when Saturn goes direct, this is going to be like the new reality grounding. As I said, that happens on November 4th. And it's happening at 3:03 a.m. And on that day, Lilith will be at 3 degrees and 33 minutes of Virgo. So there's a lot of threes. Threes is the energy of ascended mastery. And it's also the energy of the third energy, which relates to the threefold flame, right? And 333, the threefold flame is power, love, and wisdom. And wisdom would be the energy of the third energy. So I think that could be another important day where like something is grounding. We're likely to have a lot of activations coming in as well, and solar activity, probably spikes in the Schumann resonance and that sort of thing. I want to just show you a couple cards I pulled too before I pull up the astrology chart. So when I asked about what was happening at the eclipse, I got this card, Garden and Heart. Garden represents an event happening. Now it could be that you could have a connection to a certain garden as well. And that's actually something that's come up around me recently. So that's why I'm mentioning it. But I feel like it's an event that's going to awaken people's hearts. And I feel like this card is the threefold flame, because the threefold flame resides in our hearts. In addition, I pulled We Are One. Don't let fear get in the way of this truth. And I feel our energy merging together as if it has a life of its own. We are becoming one again. These cards came out together. 1 and 2. 12 is a number I've been getting a lot. And I think that this current energy we are in is going to go all the way through December. And 12/12 will be an important day as well, because there will be I believe it's a new moon in Sagittarius on that day. But these cards suggests, once again, there is an event that is healing and bringing people together. So let me pull up the chart. Okay, so here's the chart of the full moon. And the moon is going to be at 5 degrees of Taurus. Now, I want to read the Sabian symbol for this because it's so important. A bridge being built across a high, narrow gorge. Overcoming distance and separation. Bridging emotional chasms, spanning gaps, breaking down barriers. Structures spanning distances between places or people, conquering time and space barriers, physical limitations overcome, one step at a time. Cautions are only seeing risks, not solutions to problems, the fear of establishing connections, the pervading sense that it could all fall through at any moment. So one of the images that I have been getting a lot, and I know other people are as well, is a bridge. And so when I saw the Sabian, it was yet another kind of sign for me that this bridge is representing a multi-dimensional bridge or gateway. And this Sabian, in the key words here, talks about overcoming separation, right? Like we talk about creating a bridge between people. When there is polarity energy, we need to create a bridge to help people come together. And of course, in when we're talking about new age energy as well, we talk about a 5D bridge or multi-dimensional bridge, bridges to the other side, leaving the old realities behind and crossing a bridge to the new realities. So because the Sabian is here, it's a major, major clue and synchronicity about the energy that is happening. Jupiter is in Taurus at 11 degrees, very close to the moon, and Jupiter is in retrograde right now. So another thing to watch for, though, is that Jupiter is retrograding to this 5th degree of Taurus, right where the full moon is. And that's where Jupiter is stationing to go direct on December 30th. So this is a sign that between now and the end of December, as I said, and even into the new year, because Jupiter will be on that degree into the new year, that we have this bridge energy taking place. Now, Jupiter was also on that degree in June when he entered Taurus. So as we look back, there could be some connection to what was happening in June. I can't remember anything in particular politically in June, but you also might have something that was happening in your personal life in June that comes up once again around this eclipse, and that will be brought up at the end of December. The sun, of course, is in Scorpio at the 5th degree. And basically, we have 3 planets in Taurus opposing 3 planets in Scorpio. Moon, Jupiter, Uranus in Taurus, Sun, Mercury, Mars in Scorpio. One of the things I'm getting about this eclipse is a throat chakra expansion. And so that would be coming through the Mercury Mars conjunction. Now that can be angry words. That can be secrets coming out, because maybe when we're angry and we go too far and we say too much, that can be something that's happening. But it could also just be having our voice get stronger and the desire to speak out. And that has been in the energy we've been talking about for a very long time. But over these next 3 months, something about that is continuing to grow. And I feel like there's likely to be some events that push light workers to need to speak out, to share some kind of perspective or some understanding to help people understand what's going on. Of course, with the threefold flame, we have this activation of wisdom, and that also comes through, we speak it. We don't just keep our wisdom to ourselves, but we're meant to share our wisdom through communicating it to other people. I want to go back to the Sabian though for a moment, because I want to talk about the Sabian before and the Sabian after, because these things can give us insight into what is shifting. So the Sabian before is a youthful widow, fresh and soul cleansed from grief, kneels at an open grave to receive the secret to eternal life. Now we've had this one recently. I think it was maybe the North Node was on it. Maybe Mercury was on it and we talked about it. This is also about shedding separation. Receiving the gifts that loss and separation can bring through time. Grief, divorce, loss, near-death experiences, gradual realizations of the illusion of matter, letting go of what no longer works. Cautions are grudges and bad feelings, staring at issues of loss and death, war and its horrors, feeling that one has no future, people or events that won't leave one's memory. Looking at things that are gone or lost can stop people from accepting newer, more vital relationships and opportunities. Don't let loss make you give up and throw everything away. Realize that life must go on. Don't stand still staring at loss, immobilized by fear. Imagine yourself walking away to a new chapter in your life. So this is, again, like shifting the realities, moving away from the old into what is new. And we're crossing over this gorge, over this bridge. And so the Sabian on the next degree is the woman of Samaria comes to draw water from Jacob's well. Now this one has to do with a biblical story where Jesus meets the woman of Samaria at the well, and she's expecting Jesus not to talk to her because they have different religious beliefs. Also, it says she was on the fringe of her own society as she was not married. As Jesus spoke to the woman, he revealed to her that he was the Messiah. This was a great blessing to her. The Buddhist tradition tells a very similar story of being accepted regardless of caste. This symbol calls for universal love to be available to everyone. It speaks of the need to dispel prejudice, either given or received. With this symbol, there can be the urge to seek and find new acceptance, love, and redemption. If one's elders have passed down prejudices, be aware that they lived in a different time. Living in the present may require the updating of ideas and opinions. If your heart is clogged up with old emotions or spent feelings, it's time to clear those. It is about discovering what you share with others, not what separates you. So we can see like there's this bridge being described through these three Sabian symbols all in a row, which very much aligns with what I'm reading in the energy. The Sabian symbol for Mercury is a drowning man is being rescued. And a bridge often goes over a river. Gorges are formed usually from a river or stream running through them. We can feel we are suffocated by our marriage, job, friendships, life path, or through the lack of these things. Although the symbol speaks of a rescuing, and this may be indeed what is at hand, sometimes it's essential that we admit to the fact that we are losing control or drowning before a rescue can even begin to take place. It shows that the drowning has been noticed and that the rescue or relief is imminent. People may indeed turn up to help out. Continuing to struggle on alone will not solve anything. Resuscitation, finding life renewed, finding help in moments of crisis, being rescued, salvation, born again experiences. We can even see that Sabian symbol about the Samaritan woman, where Jesus tells her he is the Messiah. That can be like a reawakening. There could be some kind of energy where there is this reconnection to Jesus. Now remember, the energy here is about us being able to step into our Christed energy. Jesus came to earth to teach humanity how to embody this Christed energy. So it could be this connection to understanding, at least for light workers, how to embody the Christed self. The South Node as well speaks about some kind of revelation in the Sabian, which is the sight of an autumn leaf brings to a pilgrim the sudden revelation of the mystery of life and death. So some kind of spiritual revelation about the eternal soul, perhaps, conversations with God, feeling inspiration, angelic visions. It could be a time that you can easily connect with spirit. So it may be a day where you want to spend some time in meditation, for instance, and try to connect to some new understanding. Even the North Node is a double promise, reveals its inner and outer meanings. One of the things I pick up in this Sabian is that the balance within, the balance of the masculine and feminine, is also a reflection, or becomes a reflection, of the outer balance of masculine and feminine, or has within, so without. But there's like a double meaning. And one of the things that I'm just getting is, as it relates to world events, there could be some kind of disclosure that has a double meaning. So watch for it. Like, you may have to read between the lines, or they could be trying to tell us that something means one thing when it really means something else. And we also have this interesting mystic rectangle happening. And this is happening between Mercury here, the asteroid Wisdom here, Jupiter in Taurus, and the asteroid Celestial in Pisces. And this, I feel, is a reflection once again of the threefold flame, and how it's the balance of power and love, which is also equates to the balance of the masculine and feminine, and the alignment with God that allows us to access this new plume of wisdom. We have Mercury opposing Jupiter, and Jupiter is justice. And it's also about our ethics, what life means for us, what is our philosophy, what are our religious beliefs, these sort of things. So I feel like there's some new, there's adjustments being made in our belief systems and our worldview. And ultimately, with the activation of this threefold flame, what it's meant to do is help us to align with divine justice. What is right? What is fair? That is the energy of Jupiter. Somehow we have to bridge this gap because we have these polarities and people at odds. How do we bring people together in a way that's fair and just to everybody? As I talked about in my last video, the energy of the threefold flame is really the only way that we can heal humanity. We have to reach this inner balance within ourselves so that we understand how to be wise, how to keep power in balance, how to love others. But loving doesn't mean not setting boundaries, right? When we talk about love on the twin flame journey, we often talk about loving unconditionally while having certain boundaries. We have to do that in society as well. We can't just love everybody and not have a grounded form of society that has rules. Like, we have to have laws, or we at least have to have a guiding morality that creates a sense of fairness for everybody. And that is completely lacking, I feel, in today's society. But wisdom shows us how to apply power properly, and love prevents us from selfish abuse of power. All of these things keep each other in check. Now, this is going to, as I said, we have a lot of shifts coming after this, leading into the Scorpio new moon, which, as I said, will be opposite Uranus. And when we talk about wisdom, that's really the sphere of Uranus. And so I feel like something about that activation will be really intense. Now, Mars is going to be there as well. I don't want to get too far ahead because I don't want to talk about this Scorpio new moon at this time. I want to wait. But yeah, it's like you can't separate the energy. It's one thing flows into the other thing. But a mystic rectangle it creates this square. I know I have a lot of things in here, so the chart looks very hectic with all these lines. But it creates a blue rectangle, which is 2 sextiles and 2 trines and 2 oppositions. It's a rectangle with a red cross in the middle. But these energies are actually showing us that they're all working together. So Mercury, our mind, Jupiter, our sense of justice, being balanced with wisdom and the celestial energy, which is the energy of God. As we talked about in the last video, the threefold flame is often depicted through a Maltese cross, and the top arm of that cross is God's energy being manifested on the material plane. So lots and lots of shifts. And as I mentioned in the last video, I want to just reiterate it here in case people didn't see it. What I said was we really need to clean up our energetic fields, because the shift that we're going through is part of the serious shifts that I've been talking about, where I've mentioned our energetic fields are growing stronger, our ability to manifest things is getting stronger, our ability to influence others is getting stronger. But these changes can't take place in our energy fields if we have old energy like cords, extraterrestrial implants, negative elementals, or curses on us. So you want to go in and you want to check your energy fields. You want to clear any of those things up. If you need help, reach out to myself or a healer that can help you with these things to help you get them cleared up over the next couple of months. That's helping us gain our freedom, if you will. So also, as I said in my last video, If you are looking to have a session with me, a reading or QHHT or whatever, please don't contact me through social media, but I would prefer it if you would use my website and the contact form on my website, or email me, which I will link below directly, because I'm not on social media very much and I don't see those messages in a timely manner. And even still, it does sometimes take me a couple days to answer everybody's messages. So stay patient with me. So thank you for watching. Sending you all a lot of love, and I'll speak to you soon.